Good afternoon, Chaos. This is Kalatos, your friendly Legion's officer here, ready to do another roster review of one of our brothers in Legacy of Chaos. This is Danken. He has been with multiple guilds and is currently in Legacy, helping out wherever he can. And now, Danken gets a lot of damage in the Heroic Sith Triumvirate, but has asked for me to kind of go over his roster, see if there's any teams he could be using that he is missing. So this is going to be one of those for a roster that's very well filled out, but doesn't quite know which teams to put where, which people to use where. So I'm going to go through, see what I can to help out. So first of all, we can look and see that Danken here has plenty of gear, 12 tunes to work with. So we've got a lot of good stuff. So I'm just going to kind of start and look through some of the more popular teams that we have. And we start with the Jedi Training Rey team. With Jedi Training Rey, with a crit chance set and a potency set, which is nice. We see that there's lots of speed here, lots of health and protection, and a fair amount of potency, which is nice. We'll double check and make sure his R2-D2 is sped up as much as possible, which seems kind of low. I would think an R2 should be a little bit faster than that. Yes, I know the potency does help everybody else, but let's make sure, 30 speed there, 17 speed there, very good. Maybe this cross could be switched to anything with higher than 9 speed. That transmitter could probably be switched out for something with slightly higher speed. 14 is good. 11, that's decent as well. So there is a chance you could find a cross, a square, or a circle with better speed secondaries. Personally, I think it's faster to get R2 faster than getting his stats up. One, because only 10% of his stats help out his team. And two, because if he attacks more, he gets more crits, which gets you to Illuminated Destiny faster. So I would recommend doing that. BB-8 we see has a very strong speed set with a tenacity set. Very nice. Our total speed is plus 113, a very, very good number there. So we probably have plus 30 speed there and plus 10 to 15 on every slot, which is not bad. The cross could be a little bit better, but I see everything else here is looking good. So I wouldn't recommend changing anything there. Next in the Resistance team, we have Scavenger Rey. Not sure why you have a tenacity set instead of a crit chance set. So maybe you want to work on that. Crit damage is only 51%. I wonder why. Oh, probably because you have a crit. Most people have a plus 31%. Oh, that's why. You need to finish leveling up your cross mod on your Scavenger Rey, so don't forget about that. Oh, wait, and let's see what her total offense is. She doesn't need to be super fast. Just need a super high physical damage. That's good. 611, which means might. Good offense. Good offense. Hopefully you could find an offense secondary for that one. So we're looking good here, which means most of these have rolled offense once. Definitely could use a better circle than that. And your Resistance Trooper. Crit chance, crit damage set, very nice. Speed, not too much, which is a good thing. And again, could use a lot more physical damage. Hopefully you have an offense triangle or offense arrow and offense cross. Yep. So just search for those offense secondaries, and that team is good to go. Now, Phase 2 teams. Here is where there's a lot of variability that can come in, and a lot of different things you could use. So, one that has been floating around for a while, and I'm sure you use some variation on, is an Admiral Akbar lead with Princess Leia, who should be crit chance, crit damage, doesn't need potency. And you want to get her physical damage up as much as possible, though she does need speed. So crit damage, crit chance with speed and offense secondaries. And then this group, you're going to want 3 other non-rebels, such as General Kenobi, Zeris, a Zeta Barris Ulfi, and I would recommend a third or a second healer, just because it can't hurt, like a Luminara or a Jedi Consular, because the idea here is that you have other characters that can use non-attacking abilities that can call Princess Leia to assist. So healers are really good choices in there. Hermit Yoda is the perfect choice. So an Admiral Akbar, Princess Leia, General Kenobi, Barris Ulfi, and Hermit Yoda, you could hit 2 million with that group, no problem. Now, a second group, which I'm sure you could get close to 2 million, another group I'm sure you could get close to 2 million if you worked on, is a Gar Saxon-led group with the Stormtrooper. Now, the reason this group works is because Gar Saxon and his leader ability gives every Imperial ally a 50% chance to counter. Now, the reason you want Stormtrooper in that group is because Stormtrooper's basic, we see here, if this attack does not score a critical hit or is evaded, the target becomes exposed, which can't be resisted. So with a Gar Saxon lead and Stormtrooper exposing Darth Sion, you're going to get a lot more damage out of him. Now, the good news about that is it cannot be resisted, so you do not need potency on there. Potency is definitely not needed. So that leaves 3 other Imperial characters you can put on there. And the reason you want more Imperials is because Gar Saxon's unique is that whenever an ally attacks during an enemy turn, Gar Saxon has a 100% chance to assist. So you want to stack him with as much crit chance, crit damage, and offense as you can, and get all Imperials that can counterattack and hit Darth Sion, calling Gar Saxon to assist. Now, I see your Imperial Super Commando is at 7 stars, and he has a really high base counter chance, which is awesome. So if you use Imperial Super Commando in that group, whenever Imperial Commando gets hit, he's going to counter, and Gar Saxon will also counter. Now, I would recommend a couple of Imperial Troopers to go in this group. One of them being your Range Trooper. You know, I think your Range Trooper could go really well here because of his unique can really help out Stormtrooper. So this says, while Range Trooper is active, Imperial Trooper allies have 50% chance to call another buffed Imperial Trooper ally to assist when they use an ability during their turn. So Stormtrooper, which should be buffed very often, will have a 50% chance to call an Imperial Trooper ally. And so with Range Trooper there, he will give him that assist chance, but also his unique here, not his unique, his special, will give them protection recovery and gain retribution. So retribution will give your Stormtrooper a guaranteed counterattack, and you can regenerate protection, of which Stormtrooper can get very, very high. I'm sure yours is probably around 60. Oh, 51. You should definitely get that higher than that, so you can just take more hits. And so when Stormtrooper attacks, he can call an Imperial Trooper ally, or when he counters, Gar Saxon will assist as well. Now, I know in Legacy, the Phase 3 goes super fast. So if you want a group you could use Death Trooper more reliably on, throw him in this group. with Gar Saxon, Range Trooper, Stormtrooper, Death Trooper, and Imperial Super Commando. You're going to have a ton of counters and a ton of assists. And if you throw that Death Mark in before Darth Sion does his AoE, you're looking at 5 counterattacks with 4 additional assists with Gar Saxon. So when Darth Sion attacks with his AoE, he's going to hit everybody. They've got Retribution or 100% counter chance, so they hit him back, and then Gar Saxon assists everybody that countered. It's incredible to watch when it happens. So I think that's a really, really fun group to use. Now, the Imperial Troopers is another great group to use in Phase 2, whether you use a General Veers lead or a Grand Admiral Thrawn lead. This group uses both of them with Colonel Stark, Shore Trooper, and Snow Trooper. So they go really, really well together. Just make sure your Colonel Stark and your General Veers are super, super fast. Now, whether it's Phase 2 or Phase 4, I noticed that your First Order is coming along quite well. So you've got Kylo Ren unmasked with his Zeta. All you need now is to finish gearing out your First Order Stormtrooper and your First Order Executioner. Because this group will use Kylo Ren unmasked, First Order Officer, First Order Executioner, and First Order Stormtrooper. Now, I'd recommend that 5th one being a Rebel in the guise of Sabine Wren, who you have at gear 11. So with your First Order group plus Sabine, that group can hit 2 million if done correctly. So that group can get you 2 million. Your Machine Gun Leia group could get you 1.5 million to 2 million once you get Leia to gear 12. And then I am certain that this Gar Saxon counter group can get easily 1.5 million to 2 million damage as well, while using a lot less time than a Chex Mix group. So if the rest of your guild is doing great at getting Phase 3, throw Death Trooper into Phase 2 with this group, and you are golden for at least 5, possibly 6 million damage in Phase 2. So Danken, I'm sure with your Jedi Training Ray hitting 5 to 6 million once you speed up your BB-8 and R2 and farm good offense mods for your Resistance Trooper and Scavenger Ray, you could probably get upwards of 6 million there, 6 million from these 3 groups, and I believe your Night Sisters are really, really strong. There we go, your Night Sisters are good for another 4 million in Phase 4. And the last group I could recommend to you is actually a Clone Trooper group for Phase 4 against Darth Traya alone. Now, this group can use all 5 Clone Troopers, or you can throw in Baze Malbus in here. The trick being, you want either you want Echo, or if you throw in Baze Malbus, Baze, to get that Iron Shield or Unbreakable Will, and go super, super slow, and it gives the rest of your clones plenty of time to attack. Now, you could do that with either a Rex lead or a Commander Cody lead. I personally use a Rex lead, but I'm sure a Cody lead could work just as well, unless you're bringing in Baze Malbus for Cody. Then you definitely want to go with a Rex lead. And that group can net you 500,000 at the end of Phase 4 with only 1 or 2 restarts. Now, I'm sure you've got a lot of other teams that you use, but I'm looking at those 5 teams alone can get you 20 million in the raid with time, and that doesn't include a lot of restarts. So if you can use those groups and get your RNG and mods perfect, I'm sure you're going to be doing way more damage than anybody else in this Sith raid, Danken. I know you got it. I know you can do it. So just keep it up and keep grinding out those results in the arena and the fleet. I know it's a headache, but you got this, man. Keep it up. You're doing a great job motivating Legacy and communicating in Slack. So glad to have you here. Glad to see you working so hard, and hope to see you for many, many months to come. Until later, Chaos is Sekelatos saying good night and good luck.